A mind map is a diagram used to visually organize information. A mind map is often created around a single concept, drawn as an image in the center of a blank landscape page, to which associated representations of ideas such as images, words and parts of words are added. Major ideas are connected directly to the central concept, and other ideas branch out from those. Mind maps can be drawn by hand either as rough notes during a lecture, meeting or planning session, for example, or as higher quality pictures when more time is available. Mind maps are considered to be a type of spider diagram. A similar concept in the 1970s was idea sum bursting. Origins: although the term mind map was first popularized by British popular psychology author and television personality Tony Buzan, the use of diagrams that visually map information using branching and radial maps traces back centuries. These pictorial methods record knowledge and model systems, and have a long history in learning, brainstorming, memory, visual thinking, and problem-solving by educators, engineers, psychologists, and others. Some of the earliest examples of such graphical records were developed by Porphyry of Tyros, a noted thinker of the 3rd century, as he graphically visualized the concept categories of Aristotle. Philosopher Rangmonlial also used such techniques. The semantic network was developed in the late 1950s as a theory to understand human learning and developed further by Alan M. Collins and M. Rosquillian during the early 1960s. Mind maps are similar in radial structure to concept maps, developed by learning experts in the 1970s, but differ in that the former are simplified by focusing around a single central key concept. Popularization of the term mind map, Buzan's specific approach, and the introduction of the term mind map arose during a 1974 BBC TV series he hosted, called Use Your Head. In this show, and companion book series, Buzan promoted his conception of radial tree, diagramming keywords in a colorful, radiant, tree-like structure. Buzan says the idea was inspired by Alfred Korzybski's general semantics as popularized in science fiction novels, such as those of Robert A. Heinlein and A. Van Vogt. He argues that while traditional outlines force readers to scan left to right and top to bottom, readers actually tend to scan the entire page in a non-linear fashion. Buzan's treatment also uses then-popular assumptions about the functions of cerebral hemispheres in order to explain the claimed increased effectiveness of mind mapping over other forms of note-making. Mind map guidelines: Buzan suggests the following guidelines for creating mind maps. Start in the center with an image of the topic, using at least 3 colors. Use images, symbols, codes, and dimensions throughout your mind map. Select keywords in print using upper or lower case letters. Each word image is best alone and sitting on its own line. The lines should be connected, starting from the central image. The lines become thinner as they radiate out from the center. Make the lines the same length as the word image they support. Use multiple colors throughout the mind map, for visual stimulation and also for encoding or grouping. Develop your own personal style of mind mapping. Use emphasis and show associations in your mind map. Keep the mind map clear by using radial hierarchy or outlines to embrace your branches. Uses: as with other diagramming tools, mind maps can be used to generate, visualize, structure, and classify ideas, and as an aid to studying and organizing information, solving problems, making decisions, and writing. Mind maps have many applications in personal, family, educational, and business situations, including note-taking, brainstorming, summarizing, as a mnemonic technique, or to sort out a complicated idea. Mind maps are also promoted as a way to collaborate in color pen or creativity sessions. In addition to these direct use cases, data retrieved from mind maps can be used to enhance several other applications. For instance, expert search systems, search engines and search and tag query recommender. To do so, mind maps can be analyzed with classic methods of information retrieval to classify a mind map's author or documents that are linked from within the mind map. Differences from other visualizations: concept maps. Mind maps differ from concept maps in that mind maps focus on only one word or idea, whereas concept maps connect multiple words or ideas. Also, concept maps typically have text labels on their connecting lines arms. Mind maps are based on radial hierarchies and tree structures denoting relationships with a central governing concept, whereas concept maps are based on connections between concepts in more diverse patterns. However, either can be part of a larger personal knowledge-based system. Modeling graphs. There is no rigorous right or wrong with mind maps, relying on the arbitrariness of mnemonic systems. A UML diagram or a semantic network has structured elements modeling relationships, with lines connecting objects to indicate relationship. This is generally done in black and white with a clear and agreed iconography. Mind maps serve a different purpose, they help with memory and organization. Mind maps are collections of words structured by the mental context of the author with visual mnemonics, and, through the use of color, icons and visual links, are informal and necessary to the proper functioning of the mind map. Research, effectiveness. Cunningham conducted a user study in which 80% of the students thought mind mapping helped them understand concepts and ideas in science. Other studies also report positive effects through the use of mind maps. Farrand, Hussain, and Hennessy found that spider diagrams had limited, but significant, impact on memory recall in undergraduate students as compared to preferred study methods. This improvement was only robust after a week for those in the diagram group, and there was a significant decrease in motivation compared to the subject's preferred methods of note-taking. A meta-study about concept mapping concluded that concept mapping is more effective than reading text passages, attending lectures, and participating in class discussions. The same study also concluded that concept mapping is slightly more effective than other constructive activities such as writing summaries and outlines. In addition, they concluded that low-ability students may benefit more from mind mapping than high-ability students. Features of mind maps. Bill and Langer conducted a comprehensive analysis of the content of mind maps. They analyzed 19,379 mind maps from 11,179 users of the mind mapping applications Cyplore Mind Mapping and MindMeister. Results include that average users create only a few mind maps. Average mind maps are rather small, with each node containing about 3 words. However, there were exceptions. One user created more than 200 mind maps. The largest mind map consisted of more than 50,000 nodes and the largest node contained 7,500 words. The study also showed that between different mind mapping applications significant differences exist related to how users create mind maps. Automatic creating of mind maps. There have been some attempts to create mind maps automatically. Brooks and Skummer created mind maps automatically from full text streams. Rathenberger et al. Extracted the main story of a text and presented it as mind map. And there is a patent about automatically creating subtopics in mind maps. Pen and paper versus computer. There are 2 studies that analyze whether electronic mind mapping or pen-based mind mapping is more effective. Tools. Mind mapping software can be used to organize large amounts of information, combining spatial organization, dynamic hierarchical structuring and node folding. Software packages can extend the concept of mind mapping by allowing individuals to map more than thoughts and ideas with information on their computers and the Internet, like spreadsheets, documents, Internet sites and images. It has been suggested that mind mapping can improve learning study efficiency up to 15% over conventional note-taking. Generation from natural language. In 2009, Mohamed Elogiani et al. Presented the first prototype that can generate mind maps out of small text to fit in a single screen. In 2012, it was extended into a more scalable system that can work from larger texts. Trademark. The phrase mind map is trademarked by Buzan's company for the specific use of self-improvement educational courses in Great Britain and the United States. The trademark does not appear in the records of the Canadian Intellectual Property Office. See also, personal wiki, brainstorming, graph, idea, list of concept mapping and mind mapping software, related diagrams, argument map, cognitive map, concept map, radial tree, rhizome, semantic network, social map. Tree structure, references. Further reading, Novak, J.D., How Do We Learn Our Lesson? Taking Students Through the Process. The Science Teacher, 63, 50-55, External links, media related to mind maps at Wikimedia Commons.